Hello, everybody. Philip Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Today is Tuesday, the 5th of October, 2021. And today's topic is, who are the statue destroyers really targeting? So we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, I wanted to point out, to subscribe to future episodes, please click on the subscribe button below in the lower right, and also the notification bell in the upper right to be notified when they're released. Okay, I'll pull up my notes and we'll go ahead and get started in the presentation. Who are the statue destroyers really targeting? The routine removal of Confederate statues signifies a new stage in the evolution of political progressives. Their vision for a new order that can provide social justice for the so-called oppressed is becoming a secular religion. Assaults on statues are symptomatic that the new faith is working to destroy traditional values. The birth of a new religion, even a secular one, and I guess especially a secular one, is always a dangerous time. Immature faiths tend to go toward totalitarian treatment of unbelievers while they fight among themselves over arcane points to settle upon a canonical creed. As they work out their victimology creed, Confederate statues serve as handy symbols where they can act out their aggression and anger about the past. Under the influence of corrupted historian activists, progressives imagined that Robert E. Lee's recently removed statue on Monument Avenue in Richmond was erected to celebrate white supremacy. In truth, it was put there to honor the leadership he provided to the Army of Northern Virginia, which kept the Union armies, the enemy armies, at bay for 4 years against long odds. Unlike other Southern armies, Lee's was composed of soldiers from every one of the 11 Confederate states. Starting in 1874, 4 years after Lee died, it took 16 years of collecting donations from Southern states, citizens in Southern states, before the required $52,000 was raised, the money needed to erect the statue. Unlike at the removal of the statue last month, no tax dollars were used to erect it. A crowd of 150,000, including blacks, attended the statue's unveiling in May 1890. Despite the city's smaller population 131 years ago, that crowd, that 1890 crowd, was about 100 times larger than the one that cheered the destruction of the statue last month. Given that nearly half of Richmond's present 225,000 population is black, last month's small turnout of a crowd suggests that the removal and defacement of Confederate statues is not really an important issue for most blacks. It's primarily done to provide virtue signaling opportunities for Democrat politicians like Governor Ralph Northam. An ephemeral photo op for any politician is an inexcusable reason for destroying a 131-year-old statue erected with funds provided by thousands of small donations when the South's per capita income was half, at best, half of the national average, meaning that the national average was double theirs. And since they were part of the nation, that meant that the Northern income was more than double the per capita income in the South. But Governor Northam, he says the statue does not represent the values of today's Virginians, and then that's why it must be torn down. Well, if that were so, Governor, why was the crowd at the removal so small? If those values are truly important to Virginians, particularly Black Virginians, which compose half of the population of Richmond, why was the turnout so small? Evidently, it does not represent an offense to the vast majority of Virginians today. Now, perhaps a Democrat Georgia legislature's reaction to a proposal in Georgia that would place a statue of Georgia born and raised Supreme Court Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on the Capitol grounds in Atlanta. And perhaps this legislator's reaction shows that that political conservatives are the true targets of those tearing down Confederate statues. When asked her opinion about the proposal to put the Clarence Thomas statue on the Capitol grounds in Atlanta, State Representative Donna McLeod, I guess it is, or McLeod, said, quote, "I'd rather them keep a Confederate monument than erect a statue to Clarence Thomas. That's how much I don't like the idea." Obviously, I think you know Clarence Thomas is a Black man, and this Georgia legislator is a Black woman. And she would rather have a Confederate statue on the state capitol grounds in Atlanta as compared to a statue of Clarence Thomas. Now, if you are a political conservative with no connection to Confederate heritage, you may think that the statue destroyers are targeting what you have been told is an immoral, dead civilization. Whereas McLeod's remark reveals the true target is you. You. In short, the whole destroy the Confederate statues movement is a dreadful fraud that is divisive instead of inclusive, as its proponents falsely claim. Now, what I'd like to do is to share some images with you that are going to make my points. Here is a picture of the statue of Robert E. Lee when it was erected in 1890, in May of 1890. And if you look at the bottom of the people here, standing at the bottom are a number of Black African Americans in May 1890. Nobody's running them out on a rail. Nobody is waving a lasso over their head, threatening to lynch them. Nothing like that. Now, an interesting point about this picture, I could not find this by searching with Google. Oh no, Google doesn't want to show you a picture with Blacks in May 1890 standing proudly at the erection of the Robert E. Lee statue. No, Google doesn't want that. So let me share another item with you. Here's what LeVar Stoney, well, first let me show you, I'd like to show you a statue of Jeb Stuart, who was Robert E. Lee's commander of the cavalry that was part of Lee's Army of Northern Virginia. Now he was in the cavalry, therefore he's on a horse, and he was killed at age 31, but he was a remarkable commander. At the Battle of Chancellorsville, he took over for Stonewall Jackson after Stonewall was wounded and then later died of a battle wound, to complete the victory of the Confederate armies there. This guy is 30 years old. And so, you know, a statue was there on Monument Avenue, which was, of course, torn down by Mayor LeVar Stoney of Richmond. And so here's what LeVar Stoney put to replace the Jeb Stuart picture. Now let's take a look at this. This is a contemporary Black man, obviously youthful, and he is riding a horse for some reason, but as you can see, it's a mockery. It is a mockery of the Jeb Stuart statue. This Black man is a contemporary Black man. He's wearing Nike sneakers. And the purpose of the statue is to celebrate the Black man's resistance to police oppression in the United States. This mockery to me, shows what the true objective is of those who want to tear down Confederate statues, in addition to wanting to go after conservatives. This mockery shows that it's not something that's done out of a personal feeling of satisfaction. It's something done as a matter of revenge. There's no reason to put up something that's a mockery unless you want to insult those who still have respect for the Confederate monuments that were there before. It's a deliberate effort to insult those people living today. Many of them, I hope, are watching this video, or at least some of them are watching this video. Okay, so the last thing I want to share is this. This is my book, Trading with the Enemy, which is about the intersectional trade between the North and the South during the Civil War. This is an important concept. This is an important story that's not told by today's academic historians, principally because it does not reflect favorably upon the Yankees. Twice as much cotton during the war went across the battle lines to the North than went through the maritime blockade to Europe. The Yankees bought cotton, and they paid a pretty price for it while they were warring with the Southerners. And when they bought it with gold, that gold inevitably went into the international markets where the Confederacy bought weapons. There's a story in here of a senator from Rhode Island that was actually trading weapons for cotton during the Civil War. So that's our show for today. And I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.